down dominant stories as reported across our newspapers. My name is Sage Babalola, and I'll be with you for another 3 to 4 hours alongside Fᴜᴜᴜ and a host of other resource persons actually that would be joining us for the different elements of the morning show called The Morning Express. Is still needed to the front pages, and often if there's a need for us to flip through the covers, look at center stories just to complement the ones on the front covers, we will do that as well. Please do well to join us on social media. We're currently streaming this program live, so that's strictly on social media, which is why it's necessary that you join us on Facebook and on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. It's how you find us on these platforms, Mainland 98.3 FM. It immediately takes you to the live stream. We have a lot to talk about this morning. Most certainly, still days ago, the news from Kwara State obviously still continues to reverberate across the country. The deadly incident, hundreds of Nigerians have died at the hands of assailants, mindless assailants. Families agree to figure in cases like this one, but even the range is still questionable. Some say 100, some say 100. One thing that is a fact is that Nigerians have died at the hands of assailants, and we're all still grieved. Act and certain provisions is also a front burner issue that would be discussed this morning, but those are not the only stories that are reported in the papers today. We're going to take a closer look at other headlines from today's newspapers, the extreme, so you can participate. You can listen via the website at mainland 98.3 FM or www.mainlandfm.com. Click on the live icon you see on the website and you can be a part of the conversation. I'm at cause of the weekend. I'll look at the Punch, Guardian and Vanguard newspaper very briefly before we get into reports of the morning. We have from the Punch newspaper now, I'm reading week in Southeast. Nigeria records 43,000 snake bites yearly amid crash kills over 30 in Kano. NNPCL's $1.5 billion refinery failure proves my privatization call right, says article. Transmission row. NLC threatens mass action, election boycott. Tinubu's proposed UK visit excites a mockery. Electoral Act government areas in Plateau. We have Zamfara government approves 50% hospital discount for persons with disability. Environmental breaches. Lagos seals Ladipo spare part market. Kogi closes market. Parks in 7 local governments to cripple terrorist supply. Protest over new tax law. El Rufai warns against regime security. Calls for people-centered team. Tells federal government. Abia government blames formatting error for 250 million allegedly budgeted for photocopier, and Senate hails federal government on launch of Nigeria's national halal economy strategy. That's a summary of reports that had caused conversation over the weekend. Fouad, good morning. How was your weekend? How are you today?
Yeah, good morning, Sage. It was fine. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. I had a failed weekend. I was outside a lot. Of course. Yeah, yeah, I had a really packed weekend, but again, I just wanted to get your opinion because these were conversations that happened on social media over the weekend. The First Lady's visit to the United States of America, I believe the 74th National Prayer Breakfast in Washington. She was privileged to speak, and it seems to excite a lot of people within the hymns of affairs. First Lady had requested, or at least her team had requested, to speak on his platform regarding the religious, the genocide going on in Nigeria, and he says, well, I refuse the platform will not be used. But again, there are people who are still excited about her visit. Do you think this has any significance, any impact whatsoever, her visit to Washington?
I don't know. Really.
Ooh, you're cutting in and out though. Okay, I think this is something we might just need to reconnect, and if you're unable to reconnect via WhatsApp of America, right, what impact is this going to have in any way? Is this going to soften America's understanding of our own? We might just call him via regular call, and hopefully that is much better.
When the airwaves in your market become more and more crowded. It's time to break it open and really stand out. It's here.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Knowledge is power. Information is key. And that is why we aim to unlock the doors of AM to 11 AM as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion, tackle the tough questions, challenge assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
Fantastic conversations. All right, apologies for the interruption. I think we have Fᴜᴜ now. Fᴜᴜ, are you able to hear us?
Yes, perfectly.
All right, please go ahead.
All right, I really don't know, I must say, other than to think that, well, we are having some level of diplomatic engagements with the U.S. Whether we like it or not, we didn't just pay $4.5 million to pay $9 million for nothing. They just have to deliver on the job. So getting the First Lady of Nigeria invited for that kind of meeting or prayer, breakfast prayer, understanding of things, So, but whether it has any significance, well, maybe it's going to at least downplay or maybe reduce the amount of pressure to help with intelligence, combat insurgency, modern warfare. Let's hope that would have some impact in Nigeria, that we don't respect our leaders.
Yeah.
Again, referring to the fact that look, Nigerian leaders are appreciated out there. Also talking about the fact that look at how she was respected, and as we may not know, unfortunately for us, those that know, the U.S. president is so transactional. Just show him the money. So he's not such a person that you say, if he says one thing, you think you want to take him so seriously. But I also think that the First Lady must know that Nigeria, or the things they promise Nigerians during campaign, you will see how much we love our leaders. See, just not 100% too. Half of the things they promise Nigerians during campaign, just imagine they can deliver on it. And you see how we put them on our head. You understand? We are in a situation where houses, own mansions, own hotels, and the people who vote for them, the larger majority of Nigerians, live in poverty, live in penury. And so the same set of people should begin to praise their leaders. Yes, we have one or two psychopaths, their leaders, about Nigerian leaders. How with those ones? See, the people I worry for are those who are not getting anything. They're not seeing. Who by themselves, treat themselves as psychopaths amidst poverty and penury. So those are the ones I actually worry for. So we don't hate our leaders. We will
these people treat their presidents, all right? I mean, I still remember that clip of Emmanuel Macron getting slapped because there was a storm that had rendered people homeless. They were protesting in the United States, and see the unprintable names that these individuals call each other in the midst of arguments. The only difference is they are able to reach reasonable resolutions at the end of all of that. So
yeah,
I cannot even say. So Alhaji Subar, can you please stop calling? It's not time to take phone calls. Thank you very much. Even from senators, his fellow senators, the things that have been said about him, they say things and they do things.
And they have a right to say it the way they say it.
So it's
and for those who want to praise their leaders, they also.
This lady visited America. We also had the U.S. military delegation that visited. Alhaji Subar, can you please stop with the calls? We're not taking trends in the papers. You've known us.
People put their phones on also. They just keep dialing. They don't want to know.
Please,
and that's why they don't. Some of them don't even listen to their
U.S. military delegation. They visited the president. We did hear last week that there was a small troop that was sent to Nigeria. Well, there's been an official visit to the president. They're discussing security, collaborations, how to make the situation better. Now, again, to what extent over the president? So this is not some sort of independent operation. The president is in the know.
Well, I'm sure the president will be in the know if you are working with military, our soldiers, our military forces, collaborating with our soldiers, our military without the, even the presidency has put out a statement to say this is a collaboration, and more of such collaborations would happen. But at the end of the day, these collaborations will roll as that when the abductions end, or it's reduced to the barest minimum. It might not automatically end like that, but it gets to a point where we begin to see collaborations. Without that, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what happens.
Well, Fᴜᴜ, before we move on to other million for allegedly voted for the photocopier, although they have put out a statement that this was a formatting error, more like typographics, and I think the word is stationary, right? It's not just a photocopier, right? There are other things that they're going to buy as well, but it's not 250.
So even in between, if there was a problem with a particular item,
no, like this.
You don't say before the thing went out. You don't understand. You have a list of items and there are figures attached to it, and in between, we agreed that look, we just want zero. Put in the wrong place can turn 10,000 to can turn 10,000 to 100,000, just like that. It's a balance.
Yeah.
And in that balance, you would have known that something must have gone on somewhere. But well, they said this is a problem somewhere. They have corrected this 12 million. This is nothing really happened. It's the same pattern all over. The profligate spending, reckless spendings we have at the state level is the reason why there seems to be not a terrible procurement. In fact, let us just call it what it is. Fraudulent procurement is what you have in most of the states.
Well, Fᴜᴜ, you don't know if it's like an automated photocopier. You don't know if it's like high grade.
You see, the reality is that look, how much photocopies do we really even do these days? Do we copy?
Well, the photocopier is for their liaison office.
The kind of photocopier they want to buy for 12 million.
It's not one.
I don't know.
It's not
copying in that office. Do people look? Mails are. When last have we done any house budget of 12 million naira to photocopy words now in the liaison office? You know, photocopy.
Said another things, yeah.
Let's not. You will know these things now. I mean, you don't know.
I don't know.
Or you know, you are pretending not to know.
You forced me to know something that I don't know. This is true. Looking at the Punch newspaper, we have here Electoral Act standoff. Senate calls emergency amid mounting public outrage over its recent passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, particularly the rejection of a clause mandating real-time electronic transfer of election results. The decision was disclosed, he says, and I'm quoting now, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has directed the reconvening of plenary for an emergency sitting on in the controversy of the mandatory e-transmission of results. They're telling us that they actually had reached a resolution to make e-transmission mandatory. After the debate and the committee and the report from the committee, they had all agreed to allow for mandatory e-transmission of results. However, towards the end, the act, there's no need for us to mandate e-transmission of results. And according to this Vanguard report, the Senate president actually obliged these 3 senators. So it's not like this retention of the 2022 of results. And so at the end of the day, what we're seeing is this argument about lexicolation and pen scribbling and everything. They would now upload the outcome of that to IREV. However, with e-transfer, so there's also the argument about the choice of words, transfer and transmission. And so the Senate has decided that let's meet tomorrow being Tuesday. Let's have a conversation. Let's harmonize this. Let's clarify things and see how to move forward. So far, and then 3 senators, according to the Vanguard, approached the Senate president, and it allegedly caused him to change his mind.
Sage, first and foremost, I think the information that the Senate will reconvene tomorrow. In that letter or the memo calling for the Senate to reconvene tomorrow, the reason is not stated.
Yeah,
I also saw report is saying that look, it has to do with this controversy, or have some form of protest at the National Assembly. The labor unions are also talking about the possibility of the organized labor unions in Nigeria today put together. I don't trust them. I'm sorry. I want to think that what we have with the leadership of organized labor in Nigeria today, what they call organized outrage. Where you think that they are doing something, and in reality they are not doing anything. So I would rather concentrate more on what the CSOs are saying. People like ᴜᴜᴜ, Mzīkwe, and the other Nigerians who have put up, the fight against the National Assembly on this particular matter. Now, to what the Vanguard is reporting, look, even if you listen to what the minority caucus senators are saying, the opposition senators in the National Assembly are saying that look, we all agree to this thing at every level, even to the committee level.
Yeah.
we agreed to real-time transmission of it towards the end of having it debated and passed at the Senate, for further deliberation. Some people now began to talk about transfer, and the Vanguard is saying that look, 3 senators, they didn't name those senators, but go and check the video. It will form committee, the harmonization committee of the Senate. You will see that it was even one of them that was dictated when he did not mention this southern senator. But go and check. In fact, it's almost as if they teleguided. If you understand, they never sit on their feet. They are always there in front of him. So, but whatever it is, say it, that this amendment for real-time transmission of election results must be done and must be included in the amendment, because it was a major issue in the last election we conducted. But again, we'll keep our fingers crossed. We should just wait and see. But my mind tells me that this 10th National Assembly, the Senate particularly, is not a Senate to be trusted.
People will say, well, they're just words, they're insignificant, but you'd be surprised at how the use of words can ultimately alter an entire provision in important documents. Transfer, transmission, 2 very different things. Because people say it's not the same thing, it's different, it's not the same.
Even at the committee level. You also added the word real time.
Yeah.
Real time means mandatory. It was done. Mandatory and real time, it was there. President said, no, this thing must not fly. And then you had the Senate President saying, we retain transmission of results, we didn't remove it.
Again, we're going to have to wait and see, right? We still have until February 24 hours, do what they need to do so the president can assent and we know what we're doing, because INEC is currently waiting for them. INEC is unable to do anything until it hears from Senate says something different.
I think that's the wise thing to do. They can't wait for these people.
Exactly. Let's just...
People that waited up to this last minute to start to do these things. These were issues that we've been discussing from 2023, when we collect. And so why wait till this timing, this last minute?
At the Punch newspaper, we have Kogi shot market, motor packs to flush out terrorists. It's aimed at flushing out terrorists, bandits, and other criminals by... Please pardon me, I'm reading from the website and the page is acting funny. Okay, according to the statement, the closure affects selected operation. Fᴜ said the move was designed to disrupt criminal logistics by restricting them, able to establish why they actually made this decision. So Kogi State is saying we're going to close some markets, so we can make food supply to this terrorist a very difficult relocation so easy for these bandits, for these terrorists. Why is that they're able to move freely? I mean, they have to have a food supply, right? They have in movement. Are people who live in these communities also not going to suffer the consequence of this decision? And why does this seem like a desperate decision by the Kogi State government? What is your own position?
Well, I just hope that there's enough intelligence and good reasoning in some parts of the state, because of what it says are coordinated, putting people through unnecessary pain. Because again, once you shut down motor parks and market, it will affect to do their businesses. Because again, we have operation. For how long are you going to shut down the market? For how long are you going to shut? They don't want you guys to be able to move around, and they don't want them to get supplies. Because again, if there's one state in Nigeria today that is suffering from this, doesn't look like but I'm just thinking about, well, for how long are you going to do this? What about the ordinary people? Then to what end would it really have the desired effect?
Overly critical. That's why I asked the question that is this not, can they see that we're now at a point where we're thinking of temporarily shutting down some segments of a state? It's painful.
We've shut down internet connections in some states too. There was a time, I think, part of that fire. They have to shut of these terrorists amongst themselves. So this one, it's the first time we're shutting things down in the fight against terrorists, bandits, and all these troublemakers.
Knack for reprisal attacks now. I don't know where they got this renewed, because every time they're upset about something, they just go into communities and start acting out doctrine, or they're kidnapping people because their bikes were damaged. I mean,
so they don't go to communities and kill people. They say because
you refuse to accept our teaching. Security operatives killed some of our guys, and so we just go into communities and start to shoot people. They've been doing that of recent, so we need to be careful as well. It doesn't become, oh, you left us hungry, and now we're going to shoot people.
So we are saying what did we should not annoy them.
Let's move forward with reports, right? Still at the Punch we have here. Let's talk a little politics. Makinde Wike camps by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike-backed caretaker committee through police intervention on Monday have sparked concerns over potential confrontation. On Thursday, the National Secretary will take over the National Secretariat on Monday. The crisis over the PDP National Secretariat takeover stems from a long-running power struggle between Tamino Turaki faction, backed by governors, including Seyi Makinde of Oyo State and Bala Mohammed of... I don't understand, first of all, is it INEC now who says they recognize the Wike faction?
The papers are reporting the fact that INEC had recognized the Wike faction.
Yeah, because it's the other one that's on the website, on the portal.
No, as it stands, there are members of the Wike faction, and there are also members of, let's call it the Seyi Makinde faction, who are still recognized as the chairman of INEC, and is part of the Wike faction.
Right.
Fᴜʟᴜ, the reporting itself has been erroneous.
Right.
It's going to go to the secretariat.
Right.
Who is in charge of the secretariat as the secretary of the party?
Right.
Who is Fᴜʟᴜ?
Right. It's just
you understand? If the wicked people, I'm sure that look in that reporting there's a problem too.
Right.
In fact, they had made a mistake by what I'm saying.
Right.
So, but who are part of the wicked faction? You wicked faction go and take over the secretariat. When the other people wanted, and there might be trouble, allow the wicked faction to take over the secretariat. We will faction against the other one. And clear the part of INEC. Again, not really making excuses for them, but interpreting what could have happened to the secretariat. As they open the secretariat, let the wicked people be having their meeting in once. It's a big complex. Let the man happen today, like it happened the last time.
Well, INEC does not mean that INEC ultimately recognized that plaza. Still looking at the Punch, Ghana recalls envoy to Nigeria over alleged electoral malpractice. The government of Ghana has recalled its High Commissioner to Nigeria, ordered by President John Mahama and announced in a presidential statement issued on Saturday. According to the statement, the directive to allegations of voter inducement and vote void to Nigeria at the time was also a contestant that opponents and observers describe as inducement. He has, however, maintained that the items were...
Now, Sage, for every time we talk about borrowing from what you have here, someone who is an ambassador, Ghanaian ambassador, had contested a parliamentary election in Ghana. He has even won. He saw the report now. He was just that he bribed his way to win this. That is what you did to. But the fact that there is enough, that's why you can see that politics almost 2 decades now. One party wins, another party comes in. Even the UK, for example, on this Epstein file. So I think that position, Jari, is all noise. What more can we say?
Cover most of the reports we have here, but I would like us to read this one from Vanguard. We have Nnamdi Kanu orders total cancellation of Monday sit at home in Southeast, says IPOB. The indigenous people of Biafra has announced the permanent cancellation from IPOB leader Oyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who emphasized that the people should return to schools, work forward, or be considered opposition to Kanu's orders and the Biafran. The era of Monday sit at home is over, the statement read. Initially, we had wondered if this was from Nnamdi Kanu himself or this was Ima Powerful speaking, but Vanguard Nnamdi Kanu, who says the Monday sit at home should immediately, as Nnamdi Kanu, well, he's currently appealing his life imprisonment sentence. But do you think this is linked to...
No solution has worked. Because after the governor that they will be protected if they open their shops. If you understand, and without any disruption. We've always talked about the need to achieve that anyways. So now that it's achieved, I think we just have to is the economic interest of the people of the Southeast. So let's comment.
Nigeria's record 1.8 trillion naira on Nigeria's manufacturing sector have indicated that significant pressure persists. Financial Vanguard findings show that the manufacturers have inflationary constraint, foreign exchange and credit pressure that continue to weigh on industry performance. Because of our time, we might not be able to... People are just not buying. They do not have the resources to buy. They have raw materials to purchase the good, but we have a federal government that says that macroeconomic activities have improved, or macroeconomic figures have improved, but Dangote, the Nigeria breweries, etc.
And it shows that these guys are building up inventories without corresponding sales. They are not able to sell. Products are staying too long on the shelves because again there's a problem of go to any mall now and look at the expiry dates of products. You see that this basically they want to. You understand what I'm saying? So, and I had a conversation over the weekend about the economy of Nigeria, and I said, look, you see, you're a personal economy. Say, Can any what has happened to you in the last 3 years of this so-called to even begin to tally some things together? Say with how, where?
For a grid with about 18,000 capacity.
A $1 trillion economy, and you are still struggling with a 3,000 megawatt what's it called, power generator per quarter.
Yeah.
We are targeting about 1.8 million in the budget. We are doing about 1.6. So you see, the indicators are there to show that these reforms are not working and may never work. And I will continue to say that, look, the way this reform was approached was done in a way to solve one problem and create thousands of other problems. And that's what we're dealing with. Look, when manufacturers begin to struggle, say, to get the approvals off the shelf, what are they going to do? Are they going to sack people? They begin to downsize. That is for those of them who don't shut down completely. Why do you think some companies left Nigeria? For many of the companies who have left the country, how many of them have come back into this country?
We actually have to go. We're pressed for time. Thank you so much for your analysis. Just very briefly, we are not taking analysis. I just want to put it out there. Oboli, who died of Lassa fever, I just wanted to highlight it because as much as we're talking
people should
about
be careful with rats in their house.
Let's also talk about medical personnel who are not only getting benefits for their we don't have enough than for them to be dying even in the course of duty. Our heart goes out to all those who are grieving.